It was a beautiful day. I had went hiking and exploring myself around Lake District in England. It was a very long walk and I do enjoy exploring in some random places. I had my mobile phone and my flashlight torch just in case it gets dark later on at night. After a few hours later, it was around 4 o'clock this afternoon. I was exploring the forest for quite a bit and I happened to find this dark tunnel in this area. I wasn't too sure if the public are allowed to go in, but there isn't any sign like no enter or no trespassing. It does look very spooky to go in and I do like exploring into spooky places, so I have entered. While I enter the tunnel, there are a few lights down ahead and I noticed the further I go in, the darker it will get. While I was walking down, it took me about 5 minutes to get to the end of the tunnel. It got so dark I had my flashlight torch on. After I turn my flashlight on, I can see that there are some really old and dark hallway. I was unsure what this area is and it does look like it is abandoned in this area. I even took some few photos on my mobile phone because this place is very interesting, so I can show my friend what I have found. But suddenly, out of nowhere, I was spooked by something that gave me goosebumps. I heard a child girl crying from below me. I walked further to go investigate where the crying leads me to, and it took me to a stairway by only going downward. I do know it's an abandoned place and it's not very safe for me to be here any longer, but hearing this helpless girl cry, I can't leave her on her own. It could be one of the missing girls. I had packed all my gear up and ready to go downstairs, and while I was going, it got even more darker than ever. You can't even tell it's a broad daylight outside, and also it get me more chill by going further down. I can only see one of the doors which lead me to the girl crying, so I entered the door. I turned my flashlight all over the small room and I shined, and I can see a girl who looked at least 11-year-olds wearing some kind of old-fashioned clothes and mostly torn apart. The girl is crying and looked at me. I asked her, "Are you okay? Are you lost?" She hadn't responded to my question and she stopped crying by saying, "He knows you are here, you must get out of here." The most terrifying happening that she just disappeared out of thin air, and that's when I know that she must be some kind of ghost. I start to panic myself and wondering where I am because I have lost track of getting out of here. I immediately ran into Mitchell and really terrified that I am not going to be able to get out of here. But then I found a stairway by going downwards again, and this time it had light so I can see clearly. While I was about to go down again, I hear some slowly footstep noise coming towards me, and that's when I see this thing or some creature at the bottom of the stairs. I have never seen this before. It's so skinny, it has sharp claws, dark eyes, even bizarre, the mouth was covered up. It was definitely non-human, but then it walked up towards me, and it gave me an unfriendly growl. I ran back to where I came from, but still, I am lost. I see a ghostly girl again and she pointed to one of the directions. While I hear a creature walking towards me, I took the girl's advice and ran. While I run for a few minutes and I can see the light where I enter the tunnel, and finally, I was free out of the horrific tunnel. I was shaking, panicking, and even terrified. I nearly cried because if it wasn't for that girl who showed me the way out, I would have been a dead man. As soon as I got home, because I didn't have good service in that forest, I phoned the police and explained exactly what happened. I even got a police investigator to look inside of the tunnel, but there was nothing there. They decided to put a sign up and now no one can enter this scary tunnel. I am still shaken with this creature I saw. I will never forget this scary experience. I wish I could go back and just to tell the girl thank you for showing me way out. This happened in winter last year. I went away on my own to stay in a small cabin for the whole week. It's nice to have myself relaxing and not to worry about anything. Later on at night it was late. I had went fast asleep as I was very tired. Through night around 2 a.m. in the morning, I was woken up by some thud noise coming from my bedroom window. I went fast asleep again and ignored what I heard because I was too lazy to get out of bed. But then again, I heard another loud thud noise coming from my bedroom window. I got out of bed and looked outside, and I don't seem to see anyone around here, but what I can see that someone had thrown a snowball on my window. I peeked around to see if anyone's about, but I don't see anyone until I saw something about 20 meters away from me. I can see that someone had built a snowman facing toward my cabin. I decided to go back to sleep and just pretend that nothing has happened, cause I'm really tired and about to fall asleep. Next day, it was so cold and windy. I went outside for a walk and I can see the same snowman I saw from last night. It's a weird looking snowman like the eye the digging hole and a sad face. I thought it would be some kid who built up this snowman, but what shocked me the most is there are some snow footprints on the floor, and it's a really big footprint. Whoever did it must be a really big person. It will be impossible for anyone to build a snowman in this area, because there isn't any town around here or any other houses, not for another 20 miles. So who would do this at the middle of the night? The snowman had given me the creeps, so I knocked it down and went back to cabin and chilling for the whole day. As soon as it got darker, I was watching TV in the living room and I heard some kind of noise coming from my bedroom. I went to go investigate and I couldn't find anything in my room, but what terrified me the most that there was a snowman right outside my window looking through my bedroom. I decided to go outside and find someone if they're doing a prank on me or messing with me. I have also noticed a big foot snow which lead me to the forest. I brought myself a torch and a shovel just in case. For the past few minutes while I was walking to the forest, and I can able to see a glowy red eye in one of the bushes. I couldn't able to see its face, but I was terrified to look at it. For my safety, I slowly walked back while I was staring at it. But then I can see it coming out of bushes, and I feared because it is a huge yeti following me. I quickly run back to cabin and thankfully, I am safe. What I decided to do is I packed all my gear up like my things and my clothes. After I packed up everything, I got in my car and I drove off cause I could not able to stay another night like this. About 20 minutes later I was driving through the driveway in forest. I drove fast as possible because I did not expect to see this thing again. I was going at least 40-50 miles an hour, but suddenly I see the same Yeti staring at me in the middle of the road, as it doesn't seem to look very friendly. I wanted to brake and turn around, but because I was driving fast I could not able to stop as the road was very icy. I do not have a chance of stopping now and my life is in danger. The Yeti is running charge toward me and I suddenly hit the Yeti and my car have stopped thankfully. I didn't really want to risk getting out of the car, but I do have my shovel in the back. I go out of the car with my shovel and out of nowhere the Yeti had disappeared. There were no footprints or blood around here. It's just like it vanished. I got in my car again and I drove off. I have thought, why would a Yeti build a snowman and it comes after me? Maybe it's because I knocked down a snowman and made it angry. I also didn't think to believe that Yeti would be real or it exists, but now I do believe because I have saw it with my own eyes. As soon as I got home, I must say this experience I had was very chilling and very weird. There's something off about this creature. I guess I'll never know for sure. This happened about 3 months ago. A few years ago my mum had passed away and I always go visit to go see my mum's graveyard every once a week. I always bring flowers and place it into her gravestone, but one night it was very dark. I went to go see my mother at late night and had been talking to her about myself and what I had been up to. After I had a long chat with her, I decided to set off home, so I slowly walked through the graveyard and my car parked quite far because the graveyard is a very big place to be. After halfway through walking, I noticed that it's getting really foggy and misty. I do start to feel very cold. I could not able to see things as it's getting really dark and it's hard to see through the mist. I can hear the trees making a ruffling noise too and it starts to get really windy. I start to walk up in speed so I can get to my car and just to get out of here, but then I hear some kind of footstep noise coming towards me and that's when I know that I'm not alone. I am hearing voices around the graveyard like it's some kind of ritual voice going on around here. While I was walking the pathway, suddenly the candle has seemed to lit up all the way the pathway. I looked around making sure that no one is following my distance and I am starting to feel creeped out. I follow the pathway as it is the only thing I can see through the mist. After I walk for 3 minutes straight, that's when the candle have stopped. I can see a really big house that I have never seen before. I'm still hearing voices around graveyard as it is getting louder, so I run to the house and I knocked on the door. I haven't seemed to get response from anyone, and it doesn't look like anyone been in this house for years. So I entered the house, shut the door, and hid inside. While I was inside, the house is really old and it's also very freezing. I walked around the house and I don't seem to find anyone, but then I hear a really loud footstep noise coming from upstairs. I realise someone is in this house. I immediately apologise out loud, saying I'm very sorry for trespassing your house. I just feel like someone is following me from outside, so I head inside your house if that's okay. Whoever was upstairs did not seem to respond to me, but then I hear someone walking down the stairs. I went to go take a look and there's a woman coming downstairs. She was floating down and I was shocked to my core. I can tell that she's a ghost. I froze myself and feel nervous for what I am seeing. She then said to me, "This way, my child." She pointed to the door, telling me to go that direction. I went to run outside through the forest and it is still misty and I still can't see where I am going. But I am going straight into that same direction. But I am hearing voices behind me. I turned around and I can see that there was another woman who was wearing a black dress and she's holding a candle in both hands. She was speaking something that is terrifying. It sounded like it's the same ritual voices that I've heard earlier. She then said to me, "Come here, my child, your mother is waiting for you." I do know it is some kind of trap and I didn't listen, and I took the ghost woman's advice and carried on walking into that same direction. But then my heartbeat is starting to go really fast and I start to feel panic to myself because I heard a monstrous growling sound coming from behind me. I run for my life and didn't look back. For the past few seconds I found my way out and I found my car in the parking lot. I still feel shaken for what I have experienced. The fog were gone and now I can see clearly. Whether it was that followed me, I'm just glad I have lost it. I drove back home and I still feel terrified because what would have happened if I did walk up to this woman in black dress? And what was this growling noise that I have heard earlier? The reason I listened to this ghost lady in the abandoned house is because I never told you this, that she was actually my own mother, and that's the reason why I stood by her side. A few weeks later I went back to Mother Graveyard, and this time I will only visit there in daytime.